You can't allow the Barbados Labour Party to maintain government in this country again. On 11th of next month, which in hours will be next month, you have to let the Barbados Labour Party go. They have done nothing for you. No work at all for young people in this country. And they're the ones who are saying now, because they know they have not done nothing for you, they're the ones who are saying now that the young people don't want no work. They're saying you don't want no work. But I remember clearly this Barbados Labour Party tell this country, May Marley told this country she will create 100,000 jobs. She have not created 100,000 jobs. Then she came back months later with a panel and she says they're going to create 20,000 jobs. And today, Barbadians and the people of St. Michael, they have not created one job. Not one damn job they have created. And when they do create a job, they give it to certain people. And you know that's a fact, and I know it's a fact. They do nothing for the people of St. Michael or Barbados. And they should not be re-elected. I don't know where the Barbados Labour Party shop for groceries, but not in the supermarkets that I go in. I gone to Massey up to yesterday, and Massey had a chicken less than £1.50 for $18. A chicken less than £1.50 for $18. And if you see one around £2, that was $26. And they're talking about the economy is good. Rich economy and whole economy is good. You're talking about mere economy and mere pocket. May receive $226,000 a year salary, and you receive $10.50 an hour. And Mayor came back just as she announced election and give you 21 cents. That's the civil servants got 21 cents. And a chicken, a real chicken for $25. A ball of gas, small ball of gas for $37. And you work for $387 a week. Tell me, in God's green earth, how do you survive on anything? And she parading on television. I saw her talking about $10.50 an hour. $10.50 an hour cannot do anything for you. It cannot. You need $15.35 an hour to bring you out of poverty. $15.35 an hour to bring you out of poverty. $10.50 cannot cut it for you. And a matter of fact, I don't want to hear people walking around. Some people are talking about Auntie May. May I care about you. May I don't care about you. If you doubt me, look at the policies that she brings. Look at the policies she brings to Parliament. Policies to hinder you. Word tapping. Spying on you. Trying to listen to what you're saying on your own phones. And you talk about Auntie May. Those are some of the most dangerous and hideous legislation I have ever known. We have not got terrorists yet, and we don't believe here about terrorism. So why we have these legislation? There's nothing good for you. This party has nothing good for you. And you should know that young men and young women that looking for a future, and you think that may care, but you have made it care, may had 7 years to make it right with you. And you give her the government twice so far, 30 seats, and she don't give a damn about you. That is not right. That is not being a government. That is not being a good prime minister or good leadership. That is, I don't care. I'm looking out for me and my ministers, my friends and my family, and the rest of Barbados can go to hell. That is what they're saying to us. They don't care about you. They don't care about the children that are hungry in this country. We know there's a lot of hungry children. We canvass house to house. And people are telling us, people showing us, tell us, step in their houses and hit the light switch. And showing us they have no current. They turn on the water tap and showing us they have no water. Some they're showing us that they have no gas to cook with. Up to Wednesday, I think it's Wednesday, I went house to house and the lady took me to her backyard and showed me she cooking on wood. She's gonna cook whenever she gets something to cook on wood. You think these things is right? This is unfair, uncalled for, and unconscionable for a government to treat its people in the 21st century in 2026 this kind of way. This is not fair. This is unfair. But you got a few people running around in Barbados talking about me, 30 more seats for me. When you can give me 30 more seats and eat dirt, that's where it boils down to, dirt. They don't care about you. Neither member in the Barbados Labour Party don't care about you. They all, when they leave the Barbados Labour Party, those who leave before she called election, leave with a pocket of money. Those ones leave with a pocket of money. Some leave with as much as it probably 84 million, 60 million, all kinds of money. And you got nothing. And you're the ones who run around and support them and elect them. And certain people that got businesses and got money is who benefiting all the time. And you the poor people does not benefit from nothing. You don't get nothing. Nothing at all you don't get from this government. And you got, some of you got 3 and 4 children and you're paying rent, you gotta pay water, light bill. You gotta pay for Wi-Fi and buy food. And at the end of the week, you have no money left in your pocket. Let me say this. Any person that works 40 hours a week, any person that works 40 hours a week should never, never have to go to work Monday morning without a cent in his or her pocket. You should never have to go to work the next week without a penny in your pocket and born bus fare to get back to work because of what you receive for wages. $10.50 an hour is not enough for Barbadians to live on. They need $15.35 or $15.40 an hour. Bring that would lift them somewhat out of poverty. And that would give them a hold on to what we call a hold on of some money where they could still put away $125 or $130 a week after the expense put in the bank. Some people can't do that. Some people pay the water, they can't pay the light. They pay the light, they can't pay the water. They pay the water and light, they can't buy food. And that's no joke. You can't. The country knows and the people in this country know that it's hard and children go and sleep hungry. No child should be going to sleep hungry in this country. And the thing is, I was listening not long ago to welfare mothers who don't have a job and can't find a job, gone to welfare. And this lady, to whom I campaigned at her house, and she didn't want to hear me or nobody, all because she been waiting 7 months for welfare. 7 months and no help with the 3 children. And they're saying, I'm not voting, we don't get no help. You can't get mad when people say they ain't voting because they get treated so bad by this government. Both times you elect them and give them 30 seats every time, and yet they treat the people of this country like garbage, and then turn around and charge them for garbage. And you think it's a joke? It's not a joke. And Mayor doesn't care. Mayor doesn't show any interest in the poor people of this country. Look what Mayor did to you. I lived for some time in Canada and owned my own home in Canada. I had lived in a development in Canada, what you call a development in Canada. So I had my water, my toilet water, hooked up to government sewer. I had my water hooked up to government sewer, my toilet waste. And I pay for sewer. And I pay not every month on the water bill. You don't pay a water bill in Canada every month, nor sewer every month. You pay at the end of the year when you pay your property taxes. And you don't pay very much for water. My water bill was about what, $40, $50 a year. And sewer was hardly anything much. And now I home in Barbados, live in Barbados, I look at my bill. I look at my bill only a week or 2 ago, and that alone was $86. $86. So it goes to show you that you're paying for sewer and garbage in Barbados. And not only that, the Barbados Labour Party charges people for water charge people for water and garbage. I learned that they're picking up $80.3 million a month. $80.3 million a month for garbage and sewer. Check it out. They said it themselves. And look what happens to you. Look what happens to you. You pay $80.3 million a month. And you get nothing from that. That's money that you shouldn't be paying. You don't have any sewer to pay for sewer. Barbados doesn't have any sewer in these areas to pay for sewer. The hotels and restaurants on the South Coast and West Coast, they're the ones supposed to pay for the sewer, not the poor people who got toilets. Even the people with dry toilets pay for sewer. Some people just build a house and move in, but don't even have a toilet and pay for sewer. That's not fair. That's not right. That's unfair. That's unfair to the country and to the people of Barbados. And the people of Barbados must stand up tonight and from this night forward and tell me and the Barbados Labour Party, no, we will not support one again. We're done with one. Because what one are doing to us is unfair and uncalled for, unconscionable and unreasonable. And she said it was for 18 months. She was only going to tax you for 18 months. And it going on and on and on and on. And you think that is fair to this country, to the poor people of this country, mothers with 3 and 4 children, who has to take that from the $387 and barely getting $400 a week and pay $80-something in sewer and garbage, and then turn around and pay at least $75 a week in bus fare. That mom has not much, and she don't have a second person to help her. She don't have very much for these 3 children. And we have to take that into consideration. We have to care about people and about children. And I know that for a fact that a lot of people care. And I know a lot of people will go out and the polls on February 11th and vote against the Barbados Labour Party for that kind of behavior is uncalled for. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker that will be speaking with you right now is Mr. Nigel Newton.
Wake up, stand up, check your pay, check your bills. Same old story, same old spill, same old chill. They come smiling every 4 years, same place. Shake your hand in the sun, then disappear with you there. Nigel Newton, the people's defender. Says, wake up, stand up, and go to the LPO. Take charge of your destiny. We know how to do tricks in 2026. No, 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 no. No more dirty tricks in 2026. Hey, hey. No more dirty tricks in 2026. Count your blessings, count your sins. They don't match. Big speech on TV, but your roof still scratch. They talk future, but your roof still leak. Every promise sounds sweet, but we don't see the trees. Nigel Newton, the people's defender. Says, wake up, and vote to be LDO. Take charge of your destiny. We know how to do tricks in 2026. No, 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 no. No more dirty tricks in 2026. No more dirty tricks in 2026. And in the air if you're fed up now. And in the air if you want that change. From Bridgetown straight to St. Lucie. Let them know we rearrange. We done with story, done with scheme. We voting clean. We voting clean. Nigel Newton, the people's defender. Wake up, stand up, and vote to be LPO. Take charge of your destiny. We know how to do tricks in 2026. No, 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 no. No more dirty tricks in 2026. No more dirty tricks in 2026.
To everyone across and overseas. I am Nigel Newton, the people's defender and the candidate for the coalition and the new national party in the constituency of St. Philip North. And tonight, I am honored to be able to speak to you tonight on a very important occasion, on some very serious issues. So I'm saying to you, brother and sister Barbadians, tonight we are confronted with the most dangerous existential threat to our well-being and survival since the conquest and exile of our enslaved ancestors in this concentration camp, Barbados. A crisis or a threat sponsored and executed by an insensitive, disrespectful, and inept Barbados Labour Party government. We must accept that Barbados is no longer a democracy. We are a nation under the heels of a despotic mob, intent on obtaining and exercising power and domination over you and your great-grandchildren. After its election to office with an absolute majority of 30-0 seats over the Democratic Labour Party, a formidable political movement in Barbados, and other candidates in the 2018 general election, the Barbados Labour Party began its reign of terror against you with a passion and vengeance unknown to Barbadians. In the aftermath of the 1937 riot, we saw the emergence of a generation of leaders committed to the emancipation and upliftment of poor African Barbadian majority. Leaders such as the Right Excellent Grantley Herbert Adams, who led the social revolution from the 1930s through the 1940s, and the establishment of the adult suffrage in 1951. Then we had the Right Excellent Hugh Warren Springer, a great trade unionist and educator who made a significant contribution to the educational development of Barbados. Then we had Sir Frank Walcott, an outstanding trade unionist who participated in bringing better working conditions and labor relations across Barbados. We had T.T. Lewis, a white radical who agitated for social and economic justice. These leaders paved the way for the Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow, who took up the mantle of ethical leadership and brought us independence, sovereignty, and education. Now, these leaders were supported by a well-trained, dedicated, committed civil service who managed the affairs of state in the interest of Barbadians. Tonight, that legacy is viewed with contempt and disrespect by a narcissistic political mob who believe that they have a divine right to vandalize our Constitution and rule Barbados as they please. Hence, I am saying to you tonight, brothers and sisters, democracy in Barbados is dead. Governance is unconstitutional, corrupt, insensitive, and disrespectful of the rights and concerns of citizens. We must now acknowledge that Barbados will never be a democracy unless and until we, the descendants of our African ancestors rise up and overthrow systemic social and economic injustice, white patriarchy, oppression, and exploitation. Our ancestors, armed with the spirit of sacrifice and service, defended our dignity and our human dignity, humanity, and personhood and freedom, and gave us these vills beyond recall. They survived, and we are now surviving in an independent country. Now, my brother and sister Barbadian, do not surrender to your frustration. Do not surrender to your frustration and a sense of hopelessness. Do not grumble and complain and that politics is dirty, politics is corrupt, and politicians are dishonest. Yes, they are. But you must wake up. Wake up to the devastating reality before you tonight. Stand up without fear or favor and take charge of your destiny by rejecting the mob rule of the Barbados Labour Party, this insensitive and disrespectful government. As we approach the February 11th general elections, I urge you to wake up, stand up and speak truth to power, especially the residents of St. Philip North. I urge you, reject mob rule, reject an insensitive government, reject a disrespectful government, and vote for Nigel Newton, the candidate for the People's Coalition for Progress. I also urge every Barbadian in the constituency to vote for the People's Coalition for Progress, because we are fed up with mob rule. We need to have a different style of government. You know, I grew up under the leadership of the right excellent Errol Walton Barrow, our national hero. And I remember the days when we had leadership. I also remember stalwarts like Senator Enid Lynch, Senator Maisie Barker. These were people who represented and spoke valiantly on national issues. But now, today in Barbados, we have a mob who cannot speak about the issues with any meaning, with any purpose, with any feeling. And I am urging you, Barbadians, wake up to the reality before you. Stand up without fear or favor and vote for the People's Coalition for Progress. Vote for all the members of this distinguished body who is quite capable of bringing a difference in the governance of Barbados. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nigel Newton. Good night, everyone. My name is Everton Holligan, supporting member of the People's Coalition for Progress. And I'm happy to be here tonight to help engage the crowd, engage you guys on the reasons for forming a coalition. And this coalition is the People's Coalition for Progress, under the leadership of Kimar Stewart, Corey Beckles, and Lynette Eastman. I just wanted to be clear that this coalition was formed before elections was called. This coalition was in the preparation mode and getting ourselves ready to come to the press and announce ourselves. And the day we announced ourselves and send our message to the press, the very next day, elections was called. So some pundits are saying that we only pull ourselves together just because elections was called. No, we were working together before elections was called. And we are happy to form this historical coalition in an effort to try to bring a different perspective to our people, to try to reshape the understanding of politics within our country, because even the professional young people of our country have made it clear they no longer want anything to do with what is considered politics or voting, because the good office of politics is continually being stained. You just have to listen every night on the platforms and you will hear the staining taking place on the Barbadian character and how our people are made to look like they just want party and jump up and walk up and listen to jokes on the platform rather than listening to content that requires us now to have to think about how we're going to place that X in the next couple of weeks. So I'm happy to be here celebrating these brave Barbadians who decided to put themselves forward and challenge the status quo. And as you go along in this country, you will realize that at every step of the way, we have to continue to challenge the status quo. In every aspect of our society, we have to keep challenging it. We have to do things differently. And this is one of the starts that we are putting in place with the NMP, the CBLP, the Conservative Leadership Barbados, and the United Progressive Party in the prospect of trying to change the way politics is practiced in Barbados and to bring new people to the fore so we can inspire many of the apathetic voters who no longer want a part to play in our democracy. And this is a travesty to our democracy. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go forward with the program and I'm going to invite to you Ms. Patsy Nurse, one of a very dedicated person who spent the last year canvassing her constituency, to only be met up with an unfortunate coincidence with one of her nominees not being present on the list and being unable to meet the deadline to go back and find somebody else because of this rushed snap elections that is so unfortunately put together, where things are not put in place to help enfranchise our people, but to do the reverse and disenfranchise many people who are not on that list. For many years, I've run in 2 elections, and way before elections were called, we were able to have a list to go through, to vet, to see who's on it and who's not on it. We weren't given that courtesy this time around. And it's a travesty. So I want to bring to you Ms. Patsy Nurse, who will speak to you briefly about some of the things that she was working on within her constituency. And I know for a fact there was a gentleman in her constituency who recently was given the attention of the sitting MP, who didn't know that he was in need of housing. And it's because Patsy was canvassing that constituency. She was able to write letters on behalf of this man to get him some place to live. And she's done that for many others within the constituency. So this is important. Why you must understand, all of us, that having many voices in our democracy is quite crucial and important. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. So I want to invite Ms. Patsy Nurse to the podium to address you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night to the lovely people in St. Michael's and Baxter's Road and the people of Barbados. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to speak to you about what is happening around Barbados and what is going on with the people. Now, as you can see, how the Barbados Labour Party been going on since the election, the Prime Minister called election, a snap election, but we are ready. The thing about it is that them is sure if them ready. But the thing about it is that Bajans, the lovely people of Barbados need to wake up, open your eyes. Do you think that this is the right thing that the Barbados Labour Party doing to the people of Barbados? No, it's not. Our election was supposed to be next year, but she decided to bring it next month. Why? It's something she have up her sleeve that people don't know. Now there's a few points I want to talk about tonight, and that is the elderly in Barbados. Now we go around to all the constituency in Barbados, people complaining about one thing all the time. The elderly getting left out. Now this is the people that was here for a very, very long time, that put everything into Barbados, and they're being left out. Now I can talk to you about the gentleman that in St. Michael's West, Mr. Gladys. He was left out for a long time, and he's 70 years old. And I was canvassing in the area before the Prime Minister called election. And I went out and I helped this gentleman. I write letters to the youth development, people in Parliament for the elderly, and nobody, not even called and said, well, Miss Nurse, I received your letter consisting the elderly man. But no. So what I did, I bring CBC to address the gentleman. And he came. But you know what? When the lady came, she told me she don't want to look political. And the reason why she don't want to look political, because the president gentleman that who won it down there was Chris Gibbs. So that is why that I feel that she don't want it look political on him, because he was the representing for St. Michael's West. So that is what I did. Now when he came around, through him, I told him, well, when I saw him, I said, Mr. Gibbs, I'm happy, I'm proud to know that my TikTok and my CBC bring you out to help this gentleman. I'm proud of myself for what I've done. Now, I doubt any of the ministers that was there before ever did that. So what I'm trying to tell the people of Barbados, open your eyes, wake up, and think. Now you can look around health. Health is very important in Barbados for everyone. And what happened a couple of weeks ago? I think people see all it on the internet, what's happening at the QEH. It's not only at QEH, it's at the polyclinic also. I witnessed myself went to Sylvester Scott Polyclinic. And you know what? It wasn't even 12 o'clock yet. It was just 7 o'clock. And the doctor then said he didn't want to see nobody at this time. So you know what happened? These people had to wait so long till the other doctor come on duty. Now you think this is fair for the people of Barbados? I want to say that Mia cares. And what way she care? And what way? I don't think she care about the people of Barbados. I should have cared about the people of Barbados. But in 2022, when we had a disaster, COVID takeover, and a lot of people were sick, some died. Some people went on some point, some people went on hotels, and what happened? The Prime Minister called election. And found more or less that I think that the people that was in quarantine should be able to vote that time. But you know what? She didn't let that happen. Barbados, people of Barbados, open your all eyes. Is this what y'all want happening to you? When they come into work, young people, they're saying that the young people don't want work. The people want work, but the thing about it is that people want to pay them on lower income. They got family to feed. They got the children to send school. It's not fair. It is not fair. And another thing, why should we have to wait till we get 68 years to get a pension? Why? And the members, when they get 2 turns, then get a pension right there. Don't care if they're young, they get a pension. Barbados is not fair for we to go to wait till we get 68 years old to get a pension. If the Prime Minister says she cares about you, let she put it back to 65 then. Let she put that in her manifesto, or when she got the meeting and she says she promising the people again, let that be the first priority for her to do. Because she don't have God, she don't have it in her hand. So she can't say, well, look, 68 years old, it's not right. It's not fair. So people, is this what y'all want to happen again? You're going to put these people back in power to do the same thing over and over again? I don't think so. These people are only thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about the people of Barbados. Cost of living is high. You got children going to school. Some people working for low income money. Gas station working people. They don't have enough money to send school to children. They don't even have enough money to buy groceries, especially if they have 4 children. My God, and Mayor cares. Can you tell me Mayor really care about the people of Barbados? No. You got the welfare that's supposed to help the people of Barbados. When they go to the welfare, you know what's happening? They got to wait about 6 months or so before they get any help. Mayor cares. What's she going to come now to tell you all people of Barbados? What's she going to promise you all? Barbados people will not open their eyes. Or ask God a question. Think before you go out there and vote. Don't vote because you voted for a party. Don't. Sit down and think and realize what is happening around you. Wake up. Barbados, St. Michael's people, I love you and I'll be here for you. Don't care matter what. Whatever problems you all have, I will be still here for you. Just reach out. Now I leave this evening with these few words that I always tell my constituency when I go out and talk to people. Think about your children. Think about the future down the line. Because you know what? Remember, when they come and give you all money or whatever, remember that it's only for there. What happened down the line? Wake up. Open your eyes, please, and think, Barbados. Wake up. God bless you, and I love you all. St. Michael's, I love you. Thank you.
we rising free.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Patsy Nurse. Give her a round of applause, please. Let me just say this tonight. As I was saying earlier, I told you that, and I need to emphasize to you because you don't understand the whole issue with the water and sewer issue in this country that is introduced by this government, the Barbados Labour Party. I told you it was then the Barbados Labour Party who said themselves that they picked up around $80.3 million a month. And they were only supposed to do that for 18 months, and it's still going on. Somebody might say tonight, why is he repeating it? Because it needs to be repeated, because it's money that is taken away from you. It is money that is taken away from families that can't afford it, and it should never happen. There shouldn't be con artists for governments. Government should be honest with their people. They shouldn't take people's money without a just cause. That is taking money without a just cause. You don't have no kind of issue on the premises that you should pay that kind of money. That money is taken away from seniors also who is on a fixed income. I hear it during the house to house. I heard seniors complaining. They take it from their medication money. They take it from their food money, their water money, their light money. I hear the seniors. Well, how far am I from a senior? That's not right. Barbadians should have to pay a dime for something that is not rightfully theirs. That is not yours. Sewer is not your issue. You don't have any sewer connected domestically at your home, and you shouldn't be paying for it. You should not be paying for sewer. Sewer is a big issue when you do house to house, especially in the development areas where people got the big one. People are talking about it. We were asked house to house about it over and over again. And I said, when I get the opportunity, I will speak on it. But the new National Coalition Party has promised Barbados. The new National Coalition Party has promised Barbadians and the water issue. During the COVID, you were told not to pay, not to go out. And a lot of people in this country did not pay the water bills for 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, even a year and longer. And some people, bill went on and on and on, and then to the point where they could not even afford to pay the bill now. The leader of this party, Mr. Keemar Stewart, demonstrate to this country that he, becoming the Prime Minister of this country, the first thing he will do out of the water and sewer and garbage money, which the government picks up $80.3 million a month, he will take $67.7 million out of a month, $80.3 million, and cover all the domestic water for people in their homes. I'm not talking about hotels and restaurants and the big places that can afford to pay their water bills. I'm talking about the poor people. Keemar Stewart demonstrates clearly that he will pay the $67.7 million at one-time payment and clear everybody water bill. And clear it off. That's the right thing to do, and Mayor should have done that.
Oh, Lord!
Mayor should have done that. And she wouldn't do it. She wicked. It is true. She should have cleared off. Because she promised you in 18 months, when she first put that tax in place, she would have taken off in 18 months. And we're going on 7 years now. 7 years now we're going on. And she still ain't moving. And that's the facts. And I just want you to know the truth. You can look it up for yourself. Tonight, I will call the next speaker to the podium, Mrs. Natalie Paris, the member for Christchurch West. Ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody mo gayon? Everybody blessed? This is how long you're gonna get, no?
Hope it's stronger. Standing tall. Leadership that listens. Leads with care. Not only a vision. Steady faith. PCP stands for people first. Trust and progress put in motion, not rehearsed. Forward together. Stronger as one. With Natalie leading. And new days rising. Here begun unity, integrity. Hope you can see. This is our moment. This is PCP. A new days rising. Hear the call. Hope is stronger. Standing tall. Leadership that listens. Leads with care. Natalie, our vision's very fair. A new days rising. Hear the call. Hope is stronger. Standing tall. Leadership that listens. Leads with care. Natalie, our vision's very fair. PCP stands for people.
Bridgetown. Can you hear me? All right. Good night, Bridgetown. Good night, Barbados. Good night, my constituents in Christchurch, East Central, not Christchurch West. It's Christchurch, East Central. I stand before you tonight, not as someone who has all the answers, but as someone who has lived some of the questions. Someone who knows what it means to have struggled, to have fallen down, to have risen again, and refused to let circumstances define my future or the future of the people I know and I support in Barbados. Again, my name is Natalie Paris. I've been nominated by the NMP and the PCP as a candidate for Christchurch East Central, and I am honored to be here today to serve. I want to be honest with you tonight. I understand what unemployment feels like. I've been there. Even with many qualifications on the wall, I have had to be unemployed at some stage of my life. I've experienced the fear of domestic violence, the isolation of being stalked in this country, the pain of losing family and friends due to fracture under the weight of grief that has been happening in this country. I know what it means to have carried trauma and has had to make conscious choices to break cycles so that I could heal and do the people's business here in Barbados. Bajans, we need to heal so that we can see clearly and know how we need to move in this next election. We need to heal. I share this information about myself not for sympathy, but more so for solidarity. Because I know many of you sitting around here, standing around here, have your own stories. Stories of resilience, stories of survival, stories of refusing to give up on yourselves, your family, or this country that you love. This is why I'm here tonight. Not despite my struggles, but because of them. They taught me that true leadership isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance, compassion, and a relentless commitment to making things better. Right now, we have leaders that can sit up in Parliament and talk about how they don't care, they don't know much about math, they don't know much about English, and they're just pretending to care for people. That is what we are dealing with right now. Now I know that we all have times when we say things that we do not mean. But for somebody or people who Bajans have actually put into office to do a job, for those people to come back and say that they don't really care about you, and you put them there to do the job for Barbados, to do the job for you so that you can live a good life in this country with your family. And this is what they're getting about saying, oh Lord. Let me speak plainly about what I have seen in Christchurch East Central thus far. Now I still have a lot of work to do, and I want to make it clear right now that despite what happens in these elections, the work still got to get done. So all the people that running around right now trying to secure the vote, I hope that they're working after the election comes. Crime has shaken our sense of safety. Families are afraid to let children play outside. Businesses that are not actually closed down are putting up more wrought iron bars for their safety. And you'll find that businesses are closing early because they don't want to be out or open too late to be open to whatever may come. People are fearing their livelihoods, they're fearing their safety, and they want some reassurance that things will get better in this country with respect to crime and with respect to homelessness, especially in the Christchurch area. You're seeing a lot of people living on the streets. In our healthcare system, it is overwhelmed. We know this. We've heard the reports about QEH, and we've gotten a lot of reports about the polyclinics. People wait months for appointments, struggle to afford medication, and too many preventable illnesses become chronic conditions because we're not investing in wellness or preventative wellness, only treating sickness after it arrives. With respect to our roads, they tell the story of neglect, and they also tell the story of discard. Potholes deeper than promises. Corners where accidents happen too often. Infrastructure that says you don't matter. Housing remains out of reach for young families and seniors alike, especially single parents with children. Whether they be single fathers or single mothers, when they have children, it is very difficult for them to get rentals in this country. When I ask some of the property owners, why is this? They tell me that they have issues with persons paying, or they have issues with persons vandalizing their properties. But I think that we have to come to a stage where we start communicating with one another and trying to work hand in hand. This is something that is going to take everybody coming together to work on in this country. We can no longer sit by, some of us in our cozy homes, and look outside and see, others suffering without trying to at least help the conversation along. We don't want to put anybody in a vulnerable position, I know that, and I know that everybody's safety is paramount, but at the same time, we need to start having the conversations where we need to have the conversations and start holding people accountable. When I say holding them accountable, asking questions, getting them to give answers, and if they don't give reasonable answers, go at them again, ask them a question again, until there becomes a resolve in some situations. We need adequate support for our most vulnerable citizens. This is a must. Our young people who are brilliant, talented, hungry for opportunity are leaving because they don't see a future here in this country that matches their potential. That is causing the country to suffer with a brain drain. I'm not here to sugarcoat things, but I am here to help to make change. I can't make it on my own. Not even just the people that are here can do that. It takes interaction with the public. It takes interaction with stakeholders. It takes interaction with all kinds of officials and organizations to make this thing happen in Barbados. Here's what renewal, or I envision renewal looking like for Christchurch East Central. With respect to crime and safety, we need community-based prevention, not just reaction. We will establish neighborhood safety partnerships, expand youth mentorship programs, and ensure adequate lighting and infrastructure in vulnerable areas, as well as debushing, because that is another issue that has been occurring. Safety is a right, not a privilege. On health and wellness, my background in holistic health care, homotoxicology, herbal medicine, and preventative health taught me this. We must stop waiting for people to get sick and start helping them stay well. I will fight for community wellness centers, workplace wellness programs, and affordable, wholesome foods and preventative care that keeps families healthy and reduces the burden of our hospitals and polyclinics. I will also champion your right to informed consent, to research and understand any mandated substances before they enter your body, of your children or your children's bodies or your parents' bodies. Health autonomy is fundamental going forward. On youth and employment, we're losing our best and brightest because we haven't created the pathways. Many of the older professions are dying due to the use of AI and other technology. We need to champion innovative training programs for young people and comprehensive support systems for those transitioning from employment to entrepreneurship, with practical programs, not just theoretical ones that look good on paper, but fall in practice. With respect to the infrastructure, our roads, housing, and public spaces reflect our values. I will demand accountability for constituency development funds and ensure Christchurch East Central gets its fair share, not crumbs from someone else's table. So Barbados, we are yet at another crossroads. It seems like every time that I have talked about crossroads. But here we are again, we are at the crossroad right now, standing here. We can continue down the path of empty promises glass ceilings and business as usual, or we can choose transformation. Transformation requires three things: honest acknowledgement of where we are currently, honest acknowledgement, courageous vision for where we need to go, and relentless efforts and work to get there. I have learned in my journey that you don't just study leadership, you have to live it. I'm not asking you to believe I'm perfect, because I am far from perfect. I'm asking you to believe that someone who has walked through the fire knows what it takes and can lead you to water. I am not promising you easy solutions. I am promising you honest representation, tireless advocacy, and a voice that will not be silenced when it comes to fighting for Bajan's dignity, your safety, your health, or your future. This is not just a campaign. This is a movement toward the Barbados that we Bajans and we citizens of Barbados and residents of Barbados deserve. Let us build a healthy and safe country together. Let us choose renewal. Let us choose progress. Let us choose hope that works. I thank you, and may God bless and continue to bless you, this beautiful island of Barbados, our home. Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Christchurch East Central, Miss Natalie. Thank you for all in earshot. It's a revolutionary moment. We're honoring young, brilliant, but also citizens of Barbados who've taken on this fight to try to put themselves forward and contest this next elections. Next up, we have Miss Carolyn Clark, and she's going to come and address you briefly on what she sees important for her constituency and how she's intending to go about dealing with her constituency. St. Carolyn Clark for St. Michael's East.
Justice when things been wrong. No silver spoon, but you carry pure light. Working for the people from morning to night. Yeah, stand tall. You rise every time that they want you to fall. St. Michael East, hear the call. Together we're stronger, together we are. Carolyn, stand tall. You lead with your heart and you give it your all. Let's care family holding the line. Open your footsteps, future in your mind. No fancy show, just real work done. A leader for the many, not only for some. Yeah, stand tall. You rise every time that they want you to fall. St. Michael East, hear the call. Together we're stronger, together we are. Carolyn, stand tall.
Good night, Bastard Road. Good night, Barbados. My name is Carolyn Clark, and I am the candidate for St. Michael East under the banner of the new National Party in this coalition of the PCP. I want to start by saying one small verse taken from the Bible. And it goes, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones from coming to me or believing in me, it shall be better for him that he ties a millstone around his neck and goes into the sea, into the depths. Okay. This passage is written for the vulnerable. These are the children, these are the mothers, and the elderly of Barbados. These are the people I fight for. I just want you to take a little walk back with me in 2025, and you'll see the reason why I decided to read that particular part of the Bible. When a country does not protect its youth, the country dwindles to naught. In January 2025, a 17-year-old, note the age, 17 years, was found with a shotgun and ammunition in St. Peter. He was charged and granted bail at 17. What were you doing at 17? In March 2025, a 13-year-old was shot and killed while watching a netball match in Christchurch. 13 years old, just entering his manhood, and he was taken from us. It wasn't a gang-related incident. It wasn't like he was in a gang then. He was watching netball. In June of 2025, another 17-year-old, I know he was charged with firearms and ammunition, again in Christchurch. He was remanded to prison. Note the ages. Okay, and we just get out to September. Another 17-year-old charged with possession, and his court case is still pending. Then we got to November, we had a 15-year-old who was charged with using a firearm and causing grievous body harm. 15 years old. What were you doing at 15 years old? I want to say tonight to the people of Barbados that these are not isolated incidents. These children are teenagers. They are now entering the prime of their lives. And what would possess a child at 13, 15, 16 or 17 to take up firearms in Barbados?
Oh Lord!
This is the simple truth. A system without accountability does not protect its citizens. It is with sadness that we have to go through these type of occurrences in this island in the year of 2026. How many of you remember the incident at the Springer School? Up to now, we have not been given a proper report on whether it was a drill or if there were really assailants in that school attacking those young ladies. No one knows. But you know what will happen? We will forget. And that's what this government depends on, our forgetting. In order to hold a government accountable, you, the citizens, must be accountable for your behaviors. If you all keep walking around with this mentality that someone has to buy your vote, they're buying your life. You cannot tell a person how to treat you after they have paid for you.
Oh Lord!
I will not entertain anyone who comes to me asking to buy a vote. Within my power, may help you pay a bill or buy food, but not a vote. We need to sit down and realize that the children that are being harmed in our country look like us. Look around, they look like you. They are not of no other nationality, they are Barbadians. And if we continue down this road where we expect other people to solve our problems, we are heading for dire streets. We need to look into our communities. We need to first look into our hearts. Look at your neighbor. You know when your neighbor is lacking. You know when her children are home for a whole day and haven't eaten. And what do you do about it? It is time, Barbados, that we hold each other accountable for our behaviors. I want to see a Barbados community comes first. And this is what that community looks like to me. Instead of blaming the boys on the block for doing nothing, arm them with the tools where they can go paint a house, fix a pipe, cut somebody's grass, cut down a tree. Give them what they need to help one another. It is okay for us to say that crime in Barbados is not as bad. But look at us, 166 square miles, 280,000 people. And one death alone sends shatters through a community. A mother mourns, a father mourns, a community mourns, a nation mourns. Gun violence has become the norm. So much so that there's a particular sound that every shooting you hear. We need to change this. No poor mother, no poor father can afford guns. If you can't afford basic meals, how can you afford a gun? I am not going to tell you to wake up, because we're going past that stage. It's time that you realize that something is fundamentally wrong with the system. When it is acceptable for crime to live on our streets and people to say it's okay. When it's acceptable for a mother to go to bed and not knowing if her child is going to come home in that night. A 16, 17, 13, 14 or 15-year-old child, whether it is male or female, should be protected. It is our responsibility to protect them. What are you doing to protect these children? You realize that there is an uprising in fighting in the schools? One time you will never see children from certain schools fighting, but now you are seeing them fighting in schools. We are failing our future. And without a future, what will become? In 20 years, if I'm alive, I will be a pensioner and probably in a home. And these young people will be taking care of us. What are we doing? There must be policies and legislation put in place to protect our children, whether it's from the home or the streets, with no intent of hurting that child either which way. I need you all to do one favor for me. Look in the face of a child. It doesn't have to be yours. And if that child to you doesn't need protection, then dismiss everything I have said here tonight. But if you see something in that child worth protecting for the future and for now, make a conscious decision on February 11th to place your voice where you will make a change in this country. Stop allowing people in government to abuse you and by nature abuse your children. It is okay to party and fete, but after the partying and fetting, How do you feel coming home and you don't have water? You don't have food? I cannot determine if someone cares or not by their words, but I can tell by their actions. So, Barbados, Vassars Road, St. Michael East, protect our children. Bring Barbados back to where we are accountable for each other. I implore you, remember the laughter of children in our younger days and make it an everyday occurrence. Stop the mourning of mothers in our society. I want to thank you all for giving your ear and your time. And may God bless you and continue to watch over us.
St. Michael East, rise up. Carolyn, stand up. Stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Thank you, Miss Carolyn Clark. That's the member of St. Michael East. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Carolyn Clark. Before I go on, I want to say we have over here grill and chill right over here. Come on over and have grill and chill. I told you tonight you'll be hearing the truth from this platform. We tell you the truth. We don't need to tell you things that are not true. We know that you have your gadgets and you can go online and you can go anywhere on the phone and check anything and everything that we are saying. And we tell you the truth because we're an honest party and telling the truth. But we call out the government for hypocrisy. That's what we do. We call them out because they're not truthful to the people of this country. They tell you one thing and they do something else. Just like the Prime Minister tell you a lot of things and then she go back on everything. And she's not very truthful. Neither is her ministers and her cabinet members. They are not truthful. They're not truthful in telling the people of Barbados the truth. With you, they are not honest, not even 1 iota. They're never honest in telling you anything. What they do, they like to shut you up when you ask questions. And that is not right. You have a right to ask and question your government. You give them the job. They don't give you a job, you give them the job. And you need to know what your government is doing on a daily basis, what the government is doing. And they don't like to say it. Apparently they're saying it's not your damn business. It is your business. When you elect them to parliament, whatsoever they do, it's your business. You have a right to know what government is doing, what they're getting into. But they think that you shouldn't know anything. And they think that they're your masters, but that's not true. You are their boss. You hired them. But they don't want people to, they don't want you to know that you hired them. And that's what the Barbados Labour Party does all the time. This is the most corrupt government I have ever known. They're corrupt from morning till night. They're corrupt in every capacity. They never can tell you the truth. They never got answers for you. And when the answer come out, they're telling people when they call them out to put up or shut up. You can't tell the people of Barbados to put up or shut up when they question you. They give you the damn jobs you got as politicians. I don't know why they're so afraid. Why they're so afraid of the people of Barbados. Every time we ask them a question, they rather tell us put up or shut up, but we shut them up all the time. Tonight, I'm going to call the next speaker. He's no less a person than Christopher Allen, the candidate for Christchurch South. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Christopher Allen, the candidate for Christchurch South.
From Western Side down to Silver Sands, we got big dreams, bigger than the grands. Christopher say, come, let me fix this now. Tired to see people stretching every child. Keep on in the lane with the facts, with the stats. Leaning on the phone, bringing all the voices back. Corey on the ground, shaking every single hand. Coalition building like a brand new land. Christchurch South, we run it. No time left to survive it. Coalition hard, we drive it. We say it, shout it.
Really track DJ, we got business tonight. We got business tonight. Seize and settle. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Baxter's Road, Orleans, Westbury, Christopher Allen, Christchurch South is here. Now, you see the people that come before me, you got to give them respect. Because they come out here, and them is the real big dogs, and I is the little chihuahua. Right? I now come and I watch Himar, I watch all of these people do political things in this country and talk. So I want you to excuse me that I ain't sounding like no political big dog, right? Drop the sound effect there, so boss. Right. That is what is going on up here. Raise the volume, don't make us trouble here. Come. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Up in here. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Good. So economically speaking, I could come and talk to you about a whole set of stuff, but I got my man Kimar, he can come with the statistics and the facts and the groundwork. So I am boring you. All I tell you is wherever you see PCP Barbados, you need to vote. I nearly holler for them, but vote for those persons. Don't let me misunderstand. Vote for those persons. I ain't raised up my hand and holler, yes, vote for the PCP. I'm correct. So I will never make that mistake. You understand? Now I ain't jumping about here. Let me get straight down to the facts. I ain't jumping about here, no red shirt. Right? Cause red mean blood. And I don't like to bleed. And when I bleed, I just feel like I'm pain. Drop this on effect there, boss, man. Don't waste your time. Thank you. Be good there. Done it. Be good. Now, we have a whole set of people around Barbados. Just look for the icon PCP. These persons are dedicating their lives. They ain't got no money to pay you for no vote. And if I see them paying you, I want some. You got it? They ain't paying you for the vote. These PCP people, candidates, are here for one reason. Because they are fed up with the situation in Barbados right now, economically, financially, politically, socially, mentally, and for me, spiritually. So I want you to understand that this in a game, we ain't got a big lot of flyers this year. Cause the same enough like that get show, we can spend our money feeding people that are hungry. So we about that. We can put a little one here and a little one there, just to let them know what we about. But we understand that the people in Barbados right now want a change. And by the way, Christopher Allen, Christchurch South is going to win that seat. In the maybe's buts or whenever. So spread the word in Christchurch South. You see this media? Let them know Christopher Allen, Christchurch South coming to win the seat. You understand? That is what it's about. So all negativity and things get one side. I could come and talk about education. I could talk about the fact that in secondary schools, hundreds of students are coming out of this beautifully crafted educational system without a single CXC. But I will not talk about that, because that would take too long a discussion and we got other people coming. I will not talk about the economic situation and say that there are some parents now who are deciding which child is going to go to school on Monday because they do not have enough money, right, to send to school all at the same time. I could come and talk about that, but that would take too long. I'm going to talk about something else where people now have given up on the political system. You don't want to say this, but I can say it. So many people tell me they don't feel like voting. Let me say that again. You got me? Get me, cameraman. So many people have given up in the political system. And I want you to tell me who is responsible for that. No, nobody don't want calling names. But the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour are responsible for that. Because they had the other party ain't things to the board. So them are the beings responsible for the lack of interest in the political system in this country. And that is a problem. Because people are not understanding that if they do not pay attention to what is going on, they will not understand that legislation will be passed. And people will stand in the cabinet and talk to you. You're hungry? You're hungry? You're hungry? And waste your money. Waste your money. Because all of them getting paid. And not address the issues of you. So if you abstain, people, if you abstain, you are perpetuating the disinterest in the political system, which will then filter down to the impact on your children when you are gone. So understand, I might just be a little puppy in this thing, but we got things that we got to focus on, people. Everything today and we discuss here, people, is impacting on us in some way or fashion. How can you talk about the tourism expanding? Economic situation in Barbados is growing. Lots of hotels coming. Foreign exchange by the millions coming in. And people cannot even feed themselves when the day comes. Something is wrong. I don't want to talk about the perception of where all this borrowed money is going. That is another topic for another day. That could take me a whole night. Because the level of transparency in the government in this country is under question. Don't be afraid to talk about these things, people. You have to bring these things to the forefront if you want a better Barbados. So all this red and this yellow, try and find an orange shirt. PCP. Understand yourself. It don't take a genius to get on top of here. I know that I can talk about the multiplicity of issues in this country, but I don't want to bore you. Because we should have this country running better than it is right now. But what happened is that you got one person doing 29 jobs in cabinet. And every time there's an issue in a ministry, one person have to turn up. We paying 30 salaries and one person doing the work for all 30. That's the reason you buy a poster and you want to put 2 posters on the pole now. It left out for you to think about. If you was doing your job, 1 poster would be enough. 1 poster would be enough, but you got to put 2. And for the past 15 years or 10 years, you got to drag along the party. Why want you know, Kimar, Lynette, though? We at the PCP can hold our weight. Each of us can manage what we need to manage. So they know where Kimar coming in my ministry and managing my job. They we doing here, boss. Go do you gotta do. Go, no, you're stepping in here. If you gotta step in, you gotta go. So you got for the past 10 years, one person interjecting in finance, interjecting in health, interjecting in education. That is what you call leadership. That is not leadership. Leadership is allowing your people to do this job because they are capable of managing themselves. That is called micromanagement. So don't tell me this thing you're accustomed to. Just you need to let the Prime Minister in this country know what we're talking about, though. All this dodgeball. I hit the issues head on. You understand? They got so much things I can stand here and talk about. But I want you to just remember the names of the PCP. PCP. Because when I get up here, it is a group that I'm marching with. It ain't just Christopher Ali. So it ain't one person going for it like the other parties. And then dragging along everybody. When you have a group, each person should be capable enough to do their job. So we ain't gonna talk about tourism, where all this money coming in to the country, and yet it's not trickling down to the average person. You just had to add not rich and poor. You got rich, middle class, middle class, middle upper class, middle down class, middle, you know what I mean? That means that the credit situation in this country is burdened. It means that if all the banks decide to call back for all the loans, all we poor. All we poor. So you easing them structures in there to make you believe that things are okay. Things are not okay. People are getting poor and poor and poor. I work in the bank 33 years and I watch how the government treat entrepreneurs. They treat them with scant respect. I want you to know that the PCP has a plan for them. Because Barbados was built on entrepreneurs. I want you to understand, the boy don't want to say, Bajan first. I'm saying so. Bajan first. I don't talk though. Because I ain't going on no longer. If I go on no longer, I may get myself in trouble. My boss man go on what's going on. So here's this. I ain't all here but telling you all right. Pay attention to the candidates, not the big party thing, not the big speeches. Pay attention to the candidates. Let me tell you one more thing. I have seen many people and parties come with big manifestos. No problem, it's good to tell the people what you want to do. But when all is said and done, the politicians are voted in and then they get busy doing your business. Watch this here. Your business, but you can't find them. I don't understand how that is work out. Your business, but you can't find them. I don't understand how you could be doing the business of Barbados, and the business of Barbados is uplifting the people. And yet, when the people can't or want you to do something, they can't find you. So we are not going to be a party where you're going to have to beg us to open the constituency offices. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Where Kimar is going to come and have to say, or Lynette have to say, open the constituency offices so that the people can see you. That's our job. They are not going to have to come around to each constituency to see what is going on. Because you'll be managing your constituency and making sure you maintain contact with the people that put you there. You all have allowed this thing to go too far. You all put in somebody to represent you. Make sure that you hold them accountable for what they're supposed to do for you. I'm gone.
Don't get along yet, Chris. Don't get along yet, Chris. This is Christopher Ali. You ain't gonna see PCP on the paper when you go to the ballot, but you will see Christopher Ali. And he made a solid point. Imagine, as a third party, we will always hear, or one of the younger parties, we'd always hear that them is run away when elections done, and them is disappear. So you have the candidate that you gave the job to, who disappeared, you're gonna curse him, but then a third party or another candidate who you may not see because he has to go back to work, he has to take care of his family, but then you're gonna say that he should not have disappeared, but you didn't give him the job, right? So give him the job.
Barbados, you hold on. You all have become too complacent. I'm serious now. You all have become too complacent. You all are trying to send a message to these masters who should be your servants. Your vote is what matters. Do not let them tell you what is the outcome of this elections. You are the outcome of this election. Your ex, when you go in the ballot, boom, your ex is what is important. Forget the partying. Forget the posters. Forget the hugs and the kisses. When you go into the booth, all I want you to think about is look at the names and ask yourself which one of these persons will represent your interests.
That is Christopher Alley, Christchurch South. And we're moving right along. We have our next candidate for St. Lucie. St. Lucie in the house. I would hate to make a joke about the situation in St. Lucie because it is dire, but we're happy to know that we have a candidate who has served St. Lucie well, who continues to canvass St. Lucie, who's been canvassing St. Lucie since the 2018 elections, and he's here now with us, Mr. Wayne Griffith, our candidate from St. Lucie.
Good night. Good night to all. Welcome, one and all, here in Baxter's Road. Welcome to the PCP meeting, the People's Coalition for Progress. And those three words should mean a lot to every single individual. That should tell you that this party is about the people of Barbados. And we have to stop and wonder many times, when you elect your candidates and you have your MPs, your members of parliament, at the end of the period that they have served, can you say for certain that they have done the job that you expected? And right now, we are here to tell you that a majority of those members of parliament have failed miserably. But the problem is that we have been so accustomed. We've been so accustomed to just saying, well, that party failed, let me switch back to the other one. And for decades now, we've been just going back and forth, back and forth. And when you go left and right, you're not going forward, my friends. You need to go forward. And the only way to do that is through the PCP, a new political party right here in Barbados, serving every one of you. Now, I come from far. And as you know, the things in the north, things are brown. And what is brown that everybody knows about is the water in St. Lucie. And this story of the water in St. Lucie has been made a very serious political football. Because one would think that after such a long time, that something effective would have been done for the people of St. Lucie. But unfortunately, this situation has been kicked down the road for several decades. And you'll be surprised to know that this brown water situation in St. Lucie didn't start in 2025 or 2024 or or 2020, it goes back all into the 1990s and even earlier. Because anybody who knows about Barbados, you know that the water mains in the country are over 100 years old. Over 100 years old of water pipes in Barbados, and especially in the north. But here's the thing. There were prime ministers in the past who understood and realized what the problem was. And they allocated funds to get that water problem resolved. And this was back in 1990s. And here we are in the year 2026, and we still talking about groundwater in St. Lucie. So you must wonder what has happened. But the question will be, if previous governments had already allocated funds to deal with this water problem, what has happened to those funds? Once again, a situation where the government of the day allocated monies to rectify a problem, and decades later, nothing has been done. So right now, every single road in St. Lucie, they got. Every single road. You can't find a good road in St. Lucie to drive on right now. Because all of a sudden, the incumbent government is scrambling to try to fix the problems that should have been dealt with ever since. And this is the problem that we have with our governments today. They like to kick things down the road and it becomes a catastrophe. And let me tell you about that water, right? There are people in St. Lucie who made the mistake and bailed with the water and had to end up at the doctor. Because the water got the skin mashed up, as they will say. And don't make the mistake and drink it, because you can end up at the doctor again. And you imagine that on our birthday, the incumbent government come down and check a horse at Lucy, hold a big fat, and the Prime Minister on his platform told the people in St. Lucie, well, you know the water ain't as brown as it was before. And I could not believe my ears. But it's unbelievable. It's not as brown as before. But brown is brown. You understand? Sounds like someone saying to you, well, I ain't quite dead. I almost dead. Huh? A woman ever told you that she almost pregnant? It don't work that way, my friends. It does not work that way. It has to be fixed. And this is a serious problem, not only in St. Lucie, but in the majority of the Norfolk Island, where the human right of people to access clean water is being trampled upon. And rushing to fix the problem, digging up every single road in St. Lucie, of course, it causes a major inconvenience for those who own vehicles, because you're driving through, you're damaging your ball joints, your lower suspension arm, next thing you want tires. There ain't no people in Barbados that spend more money on car parts than people in St. Lucie. I can tell you that. It is wrong. And also, the other parties will come and run around the constituency saying, oh yes, we can bring you cool, new water, we can bring you fresh water, and buy water by the hundreds. But you know the problem started with y'all too. So now everybody's making St. Lucie a political football. But let me tell you some people in St. Lucie. We don't make that kind of sport. So I expect that on election day, the people of the constituency of St. Lucie will make a right decision. Move away from those two people, those two parties that have been breaking our hearts for years. Go in a new direction, in the direction of the PCP. that is where representation will come from. And on the subject of roads, you know, I travel all across Barbados on a daily basis. And it's totally amazing the condition of the roads in Barbados. And I just have to shake my head and say, well, I cannot believe that in the year 2026, that we could still end up with a topic on the platform to talk about the roads in Barbados. And this is something that I was talking about from back in the 80s and the 90s. Huh? And one thing, you would know that when you buy fuel, when you go to the gas station, every dollar in fuel you put into your car, a percentage of that is supposed to be what we usually call road tax. Now, road tax is there to help to repair roads and infrastructure related to transport in Barbados. And having that money right now allocated in that manner, meaning that it's collected at the pump every time you put in your fuel, that means that annually the government is collecting millions of dollars. Millions of dollars the government is collecting. And the roads in Barbados are the worst I've ever seen in my life. You can imagine that. So the more money they collect, the worse the roads are. That's not working out to me in my math. Where is the money going? And honestly, I wish we could impeach people, ministers in Barbados. You know, overseas they always talk about impeaching this person, impeaching the next. But come on, folks. A ministry is collecting probably the most money on its own than any other ministry. It's generating its own income. Where is the money going? We are seeing road projects starting in Barbados and taking forever to finish. Again, a case of poor project management. Now, I know that the civil servants are very highly educated persons and well trained. I know it's not their fault. When these kind of things happen, you have to look at the leadership. Why would you be leading a ministry with all that money and we are not seeing the return on the investment, folks? Think about these things. And that is why we need to have other political voices in Parliament, my friends. Other political voices, the PCP. Don't be turning back to the games. Don't be getting back and forth. You can only break your heart. You know, I remember there used to be a song called Torn Between Two Lovers, an old time song. Treated like a fool. Treated like a fool. Barbadians, don't let them treat you like a fool. You have a new lover in your life, the PCP. Alright? The PCP, you can go forward boldly. But let me tell you, friends, there's so much to talk about that is happening in Barbados. I mean, every time you look, there's some issue that seems to point toward corruption. There's something to do with misappropriation of funds. You start to wonder if there's bribery going around. And one of my biggest problems right now, one of my biggest problems is the injustice to the Barbadian citizen. And the injustice is through the failure of being able to produce a final voters list. How are we as the candidates to be able to confirm who we are going to target in our vote in the canvassing? Now the problem is that everyone says this is a case of trying to disenfranchise the voter. And you all will remember in the 2022 general election, that election was called at a time where not only Barbados, but the entire world was now coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. They were still at the end of 2021 when the election was called. there were still over 6,000 Barbadians who were in quarantine of some sort, either quarantine at home or quarantine in St. Lucie. Why would a Prime Minister call election at the end of a pandemic? It's not over. Why would you do that and call a snap election to disenfranchise so many Barbadians? That is wrong. Simple, that's wrong. And here we are, right back here now, in 2026. Election call early again, and my friend Lynette Eastman would like to see that there are fixed election dates, and we can now see why. We are here now in 2026. The poor workers at electoral boundaries now find themselves now making it seem as though they are the problem. It's not them. They're not being allowed to do their job. They're not being allowed to do their job properly. You can imagine having a boss telling you, well, work on this project, and then you say, well, how long can it take to finish? Oh, that can take 3 months. And then at the end of 1 month, your boss says, oh, are you ready for the information? Oh, that don't work. That can't work. So right now, we have people saying they're not on the voters list. I remember I canvassed a guy the other day. He showed me his Barbados passport. He showed me his Barbados ID card. It was a training ID card too. So he has a brand new ID card. And when I go on my phone and search the EBC website for the voters list, you are not registered. So how can you have a Barbados ID? He probably has driver's license too. And you be not on the voters list. Well, something is wrong. Something is wrong with that system. As far as I'm concerned, the only people who should not be on the voters list are who are dead. As soon as someone dies, there's a whole process. And you go to the registry and you can get a death certificate. Now, back in the day before database systems and computerized systems, I can imagine that those persons at the registry will have to send some paperwork now over to electoral boundaries to let them know who is alive and who is dead. Now, the thing is, we are in the modern times. That is nothing more easier to do than a quick search of a database where you can filter all the people who are living and all the people who are dead. So the only people who should be missing from a voters list to prevent dead people from voting, because I hear that used to be a thing. I had a lot of dead people voting about in Barbados. But mind you, there are dead people still on the voters list, and people that we know personally, and we see them in front of us, they're off the list, get moved off, or was never on before. How does that work? Let the people at the EBC do their job. Let them do their job. But my friends, you know, there's a lot to talk about. There's so much that concerns us as a political party. And all I want you to do on election day is to make a statement. Do not stay home saying, well, I don't know if I should vote. Stop that. That's a bad habit that we have in Barbados. Talk about you ain't going to vote. No, get up, put on a nice shirt, go to the polls, and mark that X. Mark that X for the PCP. Thank you, good night.
Meanwhile, living your life. Marshall, this because you don't know. Marshall, man, no together. Marshall, same band here, you walk on. Listen to me song. Hey, get yourself together before you make a move. Don't take no physical abuse. Before you step in on the computer.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have Grill and Chill over here on the other side. Come over and get your grill and chill. Let me say now it's time to call a special speaker. I'm calling Mr. Corey Beckles for the city of Bridgetown for the CBLP party. Ladies and gentlemen, this This gentleman is going to speak to you direct, and he's not a soft hitter, he's a hard hitter. Prepared for Corey Beckles.
Not even the dogs that wish against the walls of Babylon shall escape the wrath I come to pour. And I shall burn them and burn them continuously, for they never cease to oppress the poor. Oh, please, my cause, oh Jah, and let me stand firm when the wicked rise against the eye. Order my steps, oh Jah, the way is dark and I'm alone, but still I fear no foe.
Good night, Barbadians. Good night to the great people of the city of Bridgetown, the capital of this great country, Barbados. My name is Corey Beckles. I am the candidate for the city of Bridgetown. I am the leader of the Conservative Barbados Leadership Party, and we are also under the umbrella of the PCP, the People's Coalition for Progress. Now I understand that even at this moment in time, just a few minutes away from here, there's a sea of red. But I want to talk to some Bible readers this evening, because in the Old Testament, there was a man called Moses, and there was a Red Sea. And Moses stood over the Red Sea. He raised the staff, and the Red Sea started to split. And I want to let all of you here tonight understand that the PCP is here on the 11th of February to split the Red Sea. We are here to break the yoke of Pharaoh that have been on this country for more, I would say more than 8 years. Because we have been under the yoke of the B's and the D's for too long. We need a new, not just new voices. We need to be able to enter into the promised land. We ain't talking about the land of promises. We have a lot of promises. What we need is the promised land. In Barbados, we have enough riches. We are the riches. You and I, we have what it takes on the inside of us to develop this country to what our forefathers intended it to be. But because of poor governance, because of all the restrictions that we have allowed international organizations to place upon this country, we are living like if we in third world. I know about the reggae group third world, but Barbados is a first world country, and we are first world people. We have to understand that this country belongs to us, not anybody else. And I'm here tonight to let you know that we are here to restore Barbados to its former glory. We are here to restore the gem of the Caribbean. We see our governments, they're talking all over their face in Parliament and outside of Parliament, but they're talking things that are coming from outside of Barbados. They're implementing policies from outside of Barbados. It is time that we start to implement some homegrown policies. It is time that we start to respect the people of Barbados. It is time that we start to respect the citizens of Barbados. It is time that we start to respect our children. Now, as I said, I am the candidate for the city of Bridgetown. And one thing that I have seen since I started canvassing, trying to connect with the people of the city, is that the city has been forgotten. The city of Bridgetown has been forgotten, has been neglected. Yes, there has been some light at the end of the tunnel for the people of the city. But our governments could have done much more. and they have been doing for the past 20, 25 years. Our governments are giving away land in town. They ain't giving it away to you and me. They're giving it away to outside organizations. And I want to ask the government a question. What are your plans for the people who are living right next to Gemmett's Lane? What are the plans for those houses? Because we don't want the same thing that happened in Everton to happen to the people in Bridgetown again. Not in 21st century, not in 2026, not in 2027. Barbadians, I want you to vote for the PCP. Vote. When you get into that ballot box on the 11th of February, we are voting for our future. We are voting for Barbadians. We are voting to keep Barbados. Not punching above its weight. We are voting to restore Barbados to its former glory. So respect is due to the people of Barbados. Respect is due to the people of the city of Bridgetown. Respect is due to the children who are going to school from Monday to Friday as school is open. Respect is due to the children who are running, who are playing in our streets. But for the people of the city of Bridgetown, they got to deal with the mosquitoes. They got to deal with seeing canals filled with water that ain't rushing down into the sea, you know. Water that's staying still. The people of Bridgetown have to deal with poor governance as it relates to garbage collection. Barbadians, we are here to do better for you. We are here to respect you, because respect is due for the people of Barbados. We are here not to say that we are going to listen to you, because we have a government who said that they listen. But when push comes to shove, they make decisions without even consulting. They're making decisions, then consulting. And they say that they're listening. They're saying that they care. But Barbadians, if they had any intention of listening to you before they made a decision to do certain things, they would have come to you. We also have a situation in Parliament where representatives, MPs, are speaking on laws, they're speaking on policies, but they never at all mention their constituents. They don't mention what their constituents feel about the law, what their constituents feel about the policies, because Barbadians, they don't care. But we care. PCP cares. We intend the other Pharaoh, no, because they're snapping all the time. They're snapping their fingers all the time. And for those who watch Marvel movies, the Avenger movies, there's a man that snappy finger. And when he snapped his finger, half of the population in every area went. Barbadians, we have been suffering for too long. Our children have been suffering for too long. I want to declare to you this evening that there is Operation Restore Barbados. There's Operation Restore Bridgetown. And this is a military operation. This is an operation of good governance. This is an operation of accountability. This is an operation of integrity. This is the operation that we will ensure that it's carried out as long as
we will ensure that Barbados is restored to its former glory. So I declare unto you, Operation Restore, starting right now. Operation Restore the gem that has lost its shine. Operation Restore our children so that they can have a future, so that they can have land to buy. Barbadians, vote PCP. Vote for your candidate under the umbrella of the People's Coalition for Progress. Let you see UPP, NNP, CBLP. Vote for that candidate. Barbadians, citizens of the city of Bridgetown, all who can hear my voice, God bless you. God bless you richly, and let us restore this wonderful country of Barbados. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Corey Beckles, for the city of Bridgetown. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker that you'll be hearing from is a member for Christchurch East, Miss Ingrid Bess, who is the candidate for the National Party. The NNP will speak to you now on the issues, and she will hit the issues very hard tonight, because the issues are real issues, need to be dealt with. So therefore I give you Miss Ingrid Bess.
White taxi! Morning sun over Bridgetown roads. People rushing buses, cars, school shoes. On the corner where the train winds breathe, I hear a soft voice saying wisdom walks in from the east. The wise always comes from the east. Christchurch, with NFP and the Coalition for Progress Party. Christchurch, where the breeze rise up on the breeze, with Ingrid Jackie Best singing blessings on the street. The wise always comes from the east.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Bats's Road. I am honored to be here tonight among my people. Tonight, we know that the election is in the air. And we also know that there's so many things that should have been done before the election had been called that was promised by the Barbados Labour Party. They're a government of promises. And tonight I am encouraging everyone to denounce the Barbados Labour Party at the polls, because they have kept us suffering. I have never seen such suffering in Barbados like I'm seeing today. There are more mothers going to the welfare department. There are more mothers who are torn away from the welfare department. There are mothers in this country who cannot afford to feed their children, and it is hurtful. And only we can do something about it. And we must step up and do something about it on
Barbadians, the road is not the main issue today because they can't get it fixed by the 11th. Digging up the roads, saying that they're testing them. The roads don't need testing, the nails need fixing. I wonder why the Prime Minister would have borrowed so much money to fix roads, and every road in Barbados is bad. And still taxpayers have that money to pay back. Barbadians, wake up. Don't be fooled by this government anymore. Look at when we go into the supermarkets. Our dollar is devalued in the supermarkets. There are times when we could have leave the supermarket with 3 or 4 bags for $100. Now we are leaving with 1 plastic bag and still not having everything that we need. Barbadians, we must get rid of this government. The last election in 2022, they had on their shirts that may care. I know they have stronger. You have to care before you get stronger. Barbadians, be not fooled by me Monty and her administration.
Oh, I cheer.
I am the candidate for Christchurch East, and we have a representative in Christchurch East. Oh Lord. He's not a people's person. He do not like people. Beg the people of Christchurch like too much begging. I am asking the people of Christchurch is not to entertain him and not to vote for him. We are only seeing him now that the election is in the air. It is alleged that he has 2 big houses, and still there are people in Christchurch East who have big toilets. They are prospering while people are suffering. We must get rid of them. You can't see a pole in Barbados that don't have on 3 and 4 posters. And only today a man told me from Christchurch East. I don't know if he's lying, but I can see the evidence that he's paying people to pull down my posters. But he have to stop them at the polls. Because people know good representation when they see it. I remember in Christchurch East, there was a family of 13 living in derelict conditions. And I took pictures of their homes. I took pictures and sent out voice notes. And there was a 72-year-old woman living in a hut. No drinking water, no electricity. And I sent that photo across social media. And today all 4 of these families have brand new houses because I did now start to work. I was working for a long time. I have done more work in Christchurch East than under my ministry, and I was there for 7 years. There's nobody that can be still using a pig toilet. No, this government promised the people of Barbados that when they are elected, no one will have a pig toilet. And still there are many people in this country today who are using pig toilets in 2026. What a shame. This is a government that looks after their friends and family. This is not a government that cares about poor people. And poor people should not go to the polls and vote for this government. It is time to wake up, Barbadians. If you ever go to the polls and give this government another 30 love, this is going to become a one-state government. And we cannot let that happen. We have a dictator ruling us. Mayor Monty is a dictator. And we have to stop her 2 hours without seeing a doctor, and some are dying without seeing a doctor. What a shame. Now she's asking Soul gas station for $100,000 after she borrowed money left, right, and center. This is a wicked government. And we must tell them, don't come at our homes. I was in England studying law, and I know for a fact that the law states you cannot stop the police, you cannot stop the postman, you cannot stop the meter reader. But the Lord never says that you can't stop these wicked politicians. Do not let them come at your house. Corruption in this place is at the highest. There was a young lady who passed through Randy Adams Airport with a diplomat passport with illegal substance. Another thing happened to her, but if that was your son or your daughter, you would be behind bars. Only we can stop these things from happening by voting out this government. Starting with me, I'm on the first. Because there are some people, and I don't want to call Barbadians stupid, because they're very intelligent people that believe that if Memoli don't run this country, nobody can run it. Memoli is suffering us. And she knows very well that she's not as popular as she was in 2018 and as she was in 2022. And that is the reason she has called a snap election. Because this is not a general election. The Constitution of Barbados states that elections supposed to be every 5 years, and in 7 years she called 3 elections. Barbadians, stand up! Stand up, Barbadians! A vote for Memoni and her party is to kill your children and children, to make them suffer. There are mothers in this community, in this Barbados, who I feel really sorry for. Mothers with 3 and 4 children and cannot put food on their tables, calling the teachers at school and asking the teachers to give their children $5 to buy something to eat. That is something that I know. Barbadians, get up on the 11th and go to the polls and vote out this administration. Vote for Kemar Short. Vote for Carolyn. Vote for the NLP. And vote for the UUP for progress. You will see the change. Put poor people in parliament. You need to hear different voices. We have been hearing the same voices too long. And the voices that we are hearing in parliament, they're making laugh with sport at us. You're hungry? You're hungry? You can imagine that they're making laugh and sport at us in parliament? We must send them packing. They cares nothing about us. That is why they had to change their logo. Mayor cares. If this was a government that they cared, they would never have to change their logo. But what happened is that they realized that the people of Barbados understand that they don't care. So if you understand that they don't care, don't vote for them. Oh Lord! Look at the elderly in this country. I am so concerned about the elderly in this country. They're waiting at their windows, waiting for the pension check to come. And when it comes, it's medication, it's electricity bill, it's water bill, and it's food. So they have to ask themselves, which one am I going to do in order to make it? Barbadians, we must start looking after our own. We must start looking after the elderly, the disabled community, We must start looking after the mothers with children, and only then would we see a better Barbados. We need to bring back community activities. That is why the young men are so idle today, because they have nothing to do. Unemployment, they have no work to go to. Barbadians, let us make a difference. God bless and good night.
Thank you, Ingrid. That was powerful, meaningful, and came straight from the heart. So we are voting for Ingrid.
Ingrid Best, Christchurch East.
Ingrid Best, Christchurch East. Remember that when you go to the polls, Christchurch East. This is the reason why we're here, so you get to see who are going to be representing you. Now, we have one of the leaders of the PCP coming to us now. And I was brought into politics by this woman who stood firm, strong, dedicated, and committed to bringing alternative perspectives that look at building strong communities and building the orange economy, which was the forefront for the United Progressive Party. So as you know, the United Progressive Party, the Conservative Leadership Barbados Party, and the new National Party have joined together in a historical moment to bring a coalition called the People's Coalition for Progress. And at this time, we're going to bring to you one of the leaders of this August body, Miss Lynette Eastman. Please welcome her to address. She is representing St. Philip West. St. Philip West, you have the best. St. Philip West, Lynette Eastman.
The taller I become, the farther you dig my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong.
Good night to the city of Bridgetown. We have provided an excellent candidate for you in the person of Corey Beckles, who just spoke to you. He is right. I have had the opportunity to canvass the city of Bridgetown myself. And what he says is still true. It is our capital, but it is probably the most neglected capital in the entire world. Still problems with lighting, still problems with garbage collection, still problems with drainage, still problems with derelict buildings. And why is that? It is because the powers that be know that the city of Bridgetown is actually one of the greatest assets that Barbados has. And people are hovering over it like birds of prey, waiting to scoop down on the ordinary people of Barbados. They want to what they call gentrify it. Gentrify it and bring in big buildings, bring in all kinds of entertainment, skyscrapers,
apartment buildings that the poor people will not be able to afford. They plan to squeeze the people out. And they should not be doing that. But Barbadians have to open their eyes and see what is happening. Barbadians should not be squeezed out from where they live because people from overseas want to come here and build whatever it is they want to build. The people of the city have to rise up and stand up and say no that they cannot push you out. They're going to come at some point and offer you land somewhere else. When the real estate in the city of Bridgetown is probably, if you calculate it correctly, some of the most expensive. You realize that you're near a shopping center, but at the same time you're near to the beach, you're near to the port, you're near to government offices. You can walk shore and get food to eat. They know that you can't see it, but they can see it. So I'm asking the people of the city of Bridgetown to make sure that they return Corey Beckles to Parliament. And we have a hard-working candidate in the parish of St. John, in the constituency of St. John, called Kimar Stewart, who I believe will win that seat. I believe that he will win that seat. Oh Lord! Now I understand, as Peter Ram would say, that certain people are up in St. John all like now huffing and puffing, going to bars, going to shops, going on the block, trying to undo what Mr. Stewart has been doing over the past years. He didn't just start. He's been in that constituency working, meeting with people, helping where he can, holding meetings to share the enlightenment about a Barbados for us that we can depend on. He's been doing that. So I believe that come February 11th, I believe that the people will say that they need something fresh. They need somebody intelligent. They need somebody genuine. Not people who have just come up there to run from pillar to post because a snap election has been called. I like that word that Corey Beckles used. The snapper. You know, when somebody's snapping at you, they're snapping at you and they are abusing you. Imagine, from 2018, as Jackie pointed out, to 2025, you can imagine that we have now 3 elections. 3 elections. And only 7 years passed. Only 7 years passed. And we had 3 elections. There is something wrong with that. When the Constitution of Barbados envisaged that it would be every 5 years. And my woman calling the election whenever she feel like. Now, you really only call a snap election if there is a crisis. What is the crisis? We don't know what it is. Does Does it have something to do with the international community? Does it have something to do with Mr. Trump? What does it have to do with? Why is it that Barbados would be considering taking in refugees? Refugees don't come to poor developing countries. Refugees usually go to developed countries that have the resources to assist them. Not to a developing country like Barbados. You know anything about these refugees that they're going to be sending? You know anything about them? Now, this is different from our CARICOM brothers and sisters coming to Barbados, you know. Don't get tired. You know about them. Some of them, the parents come from Barbados and went abroad. But you bring in a whole set of people that we know nothing about. You are bringing a whole set of people that you have said you are prepared to give them citizenship after 6 months. 6 months. Well, I know people that have been living in Barbados 20, 25 years and could not get citizenship. And now all of a sudden, Tom, Dick, and Harry from God knows where will come to Barbados and in 6 months become a citizen and become entitled to everything that you and your grandfather and your great-grandmother and your great-great-grandfather built up in Barbados. Why? Barbados selling passports now? Is Barbados now going to be selling passports? Yes. We said that we would never get into the business of selling passports. And you might feel that it is a slight thing, but let me tell you. You see that Barbados passport that we have now? When you travel and you drop that passport at somebody, it don't matter where. You could be going to Australia, New Zealand, anywhere in Europe, and you drop that Barbados passport, no problem. I have been in queues in Europe, putting through my passport, and it went through just like the other people that come from the United States and England. They never stop me, they never question it. That is the integrity of the Barbados passport. I know you have somebody that wants to come and destroy that freedom of travel that you have. Destroy it. Because this is all about destruction for the poor people and a building up of the rich people. I mean, people feel that it is only poor people that will beg you for something. The difference is, the rich people in Barbados don't beg for small things. They beg for big things. Oh Lord! So when the rich man decided that he wanted a property in Bay Street, instead of going and negotiating, if you want a piece of land anywhere in Barbados, you see somebody got a little house on a piece of land and you see you want it. Or you see they have a piece of land that their grandmother used to own and you want it. You have to go and negotiate the price with them. But we have one of the richest men in Barbados that, you know what he did? He went and begged for it. And the government acquired it and give it to him. Now, what kind of country is this? When you have the richest people being able to just say, I want that, and they can get it. That is wrong. You can't do it. I can't do it. Why are we allowing them to do these things? It is wrong. So, sisters and brothers, listen to me. You have to come out and vote. The voter turnout on the last occasion was 44% because you were fed up with both the Barbados Labour Party and the Democratic Labour Party. Unheard of. Barbadians used to come out to elections at 70%, 60%, 80%. Now it's down to 44%. Well, the people of the city stopped voting a long time ago. Because, they vote every 3 years and nothing changes. So they have decided to withhold their vote. But these people are not going to change unless you decide to come out and vote. Vote for our candidates in the PCP. If you don't show them that you are willing to change, they will continue to do the same things over and over again. I mean, it's a joke. You all feel that you have a leader that is a big McGuffey now on the international stage. I never see so much foolishness in my life. Oh Lord. Do not let AI trick you. Do not let AI trick you. And apart from that, remember that if you have the money, and there seems to be no lack of money, from the posters that you see plastered all over the place, and all the huge billboards, the big fat down St. Lucie, there's no lack of money. No, the people on the international stage looking for money too. So, the big McGuffey can pay people internationally now to promote their agenda. But you know something? This person is supposed to be a McGuffey. But you know, every piece of legislation that they send for Barbados to implement, we implement it. We even go to implement it without reading it. But there isn't Barbados that we know. The Barbados that we know will stand up against the ship rider agreement. The Barbados that we know will stand up against the OECD. The Barbados that we knew will stand up against the IMF. My woman, every single thing that tells she to do, she is do. She don't even ask a question. She says, exactly where do you want me to sign? I will sign off on it. I will agree with it. I will do it. Have you seen any pushback from Barbados in anything from any of those institutions? And still you walking about feeling that this woman is a big McGuffey on the international stage. What a joke. What a joke. Don't get fooled. AI can do anything these days. Don't get fooled. You can pay for an interview with anybody. People want money in the international world too. Because ask yourself, why would somebody look at a country that got 300,000 people and come to us to ask us anything? No, it is paid for, it is bought. We don't have any big McGuffey, but they're going around the world and they're forgetting about us. They're forgetting what their job is. Their primary job is to look after Barbadians. That is what it is. It's to look after us. Now I understand now that they don't care no more, because that's not the logo. They used to care in the last election. They fool you with that. But food prices keep going up. And it's true, all of you experience that. You go in the supermarket and you spend $60 and you just get a little bag of things. $60 and you get nothing. Prices going up. They don't care about that. The wasting money. My good friend from St. Lucie, and you must vote for Wayne. Vote for Wayne Griffith in St. Lucie. My good friend Wayne talked about the roads. But you know that we in St. Philip, we witnessed this government fixing a road that didn't want fixing from Fairview all the way up to 6 Roads. The road didn't need fixing. Anybody that lives in St. Philip will tell you that that's one of the best roads ever built in Barbados. They ain't had a single pothole. But a rich man in Barbados was given the contract to repave it. A road that did not need repaving. And y'all see that, I don't know what to call it. Y'all see that thing that they construct up in Newton? It's some wooden thing with some plastic flapping on it. I'm serious. What is that? Something that they said they built for AgroFest. So you got waste money building roads that need paving roads that don't need paving. Now you got waste money with this thing that they built for AgroFest. How long AgroFest? Not AgroFest. Carifesta. How long Carifesta was for? A matter of weeks. They built a whole building. Got a big car park. Take out all of the agricultural land. Nobody has been in that building since Carifesta finished. Not a single soul. Not a wet fete. Not a children's party. Nothing. Waste money. And people in Barbados suffering. You cut people off the welfare, but you go on and build a big building there in Newton that you use once. You can imagine that? You use it once. You pass there and it shut up. Waste money. Wasting money on the roads. Wasting money up there in Newton. And then, now, I don't mind people getting money that need money. But when you're going to take $300 and give it to people that live in Millennium Heights, $300 and give it to people that live in Fort George Heights, some of the richest people in Barbados get that $300. Now I will tell you a secret. Not that I know a lot of rich people, but quite a few people tell me that they send back the $300. They take it from she. And they were phoning up people telling them, well, your money here at the NIS, you ain't coming. People tell them no. I ain't getting involved in that. Waste money again. $80 million. If you could accumulate $80 million and do something in Barbados, look at the programs that you could have put in place. Olympic toilets that Jackie talking about could get fixed. No, but she give $300 to rich people, and rich people didn't want it. Because they said it was foolishness. That is not caring about the people of Barbados. And then most recently, the minister responsible for transport and works came and said they are selling off the buses. If you want one, you could go and buy one. You ain't know nothing about transportation. You don't know nothing about fixing a bus. You don't know where to get the parts from. But if you happen to have the money, you could go and buy them. That is the lawlessness that our government is getting on with. in the UPP, we in the People's Coalition, we want a first-class transportation system for Barbados. We want a transportation system that you could come to this meeting tonight and you could take a bus from here to another point, but you could get home. That's what we want. So that I wouldn't have to drive down here. I should be able to take public transportation down here and take public transportation back in comfort. And without any base pounding in my chest. But that's the lawlessness in Barbados, because you can imagine that Barbadians have been complaining about the fact that you are sending to school children of tender years. Children 5 years old, 6. Children 13 years old on ZRs with the most explicit lyrics you could ever imagine. Now, explain to me. I want you to explain to me, everybody here, why is it that Barbados accepts that? Why? Is it such a lawlessness? When we were growing up, you had people who used to talk whatever they want to talk. They used to curse. They used to talk about women this and women that. But when you see a little child, they used to stop. Isn't that true? Yeah. Now you are sending to school our babies on a bus with a bass pounding in the chest, talking about people's private parts and what adults will do with them. How we get so? It's wrong. It's child abuse. It's child abuse. So you allowing this to happen because you want a ZR vote? Come on. Now I know that all of them don't do it, because I've traveled on ZRs that they're cool, decent, no problem. But you're going to stop those ones because it is not right that you do that to children. So one of the things